Jim Jordan's House Speaker bid dealt another serious blow today. The Ohio congressman actually lost ground on the second ballot, with 22 Republicans voting against him, up from 20 yesterday. With the momentum against him, Jordan decided not to press on with a third ballot until presumably tomorrow. And while he's not yet throwing the towel, indications at this hour are that he's losing more support than he's gaining. So let's be clear on what this really means. It means that more moderate House Republicans are on the verge of an enormous victory. And it's happening because they're standing tall in the face of a relentless pressure campaign from far-right media and their more extreme colleagues that's gotten so personal that a spouse of a moderate has even been harassed. After allowing the extremists to run the show, moderate House Republicans finally said enough is enough. And it seems like they're about to deny an extremist the speakership. Give them credit. It hasn't been easy. The right-wing media has been turning up the heat on them for days. Led by Sean Hannity, over the weekend, Fox News host tried to strong-arm the moderates by having his producers send out emails saying, quote, Hannity would like to know why during a war breaking out between Israel and Hamas, with the war in Ukraine, with the wide-open borders and with a budget that's unfinished, why would the congressman be against Representative Jim Jordan for Speaker? Please let us know when the congressman plans on opening the people's house so work can be done. Hannity did not back down even after he was called out.
I offer no apologies for doing my job and seeking answers from those elected public servants. Again, key word, servants of we, the people.
Today, Hannity sort of obliterated the notion that he was just asking questions by posting the office phone numbers of the 22 House Republicans who voted against Jordan and urging his fans to call them. Quote, is your rep holding up the speaker vote? Check out the list, pick up the phone. But that's nothing compared to the spouse of a moderate subjected to threats. Congressman Don Bacon of Nebraska, one of the biggest Jordan doubters, told Politico about, quote, hardball tactics he said were employed by the Jordan camp, including anonymous threatening text messages to his wife, quote, why is your husband causing chaos by not supporting Jim Jordan? Thought he was a team player. Bacon's wife replied, who is this? The unidentified person replied, quote, your husband will not hold any political office ever again. Now, this clearly seems as though it's not some rando. This is someone who has access to her phone number and who's clearly a Jordan supporter. And that's why it's so important that those of us in what I call the marginalized moderate majority applaud these acts of political courage when we see them. Because these more centrist members of Congress should know they're not in this fight alone. Radical Democrat Rashida Tlaib is saying crazy things today about Israel. But she's generally being rejected by the vast majority of the party. Look, it's been a long time coming, but the moderates in the House Republican caucus are making their voices heard. For too long, they've been drowned out by the Gateses and the Jordans and the Taylor Greens. But over the past 2 days, they've banded together to tell the extremists, you've gone too far. This may become a seminal moment in rejecting political extremism. Joining us now is Rodney Davis, former Republican congressman from Illinois. Thanks so much for coming back on the show. Appreciate it. All right, so how big a deal do you think this is? I thought Jim Jordan was going to win, that he was going to be able to pressure them, and that he would be the speaker.
You know, the margins are so close, Dan, that I didn't know if he'd win in the first round or not. But to get the votes against him that he did, I was pretty surprised. This is a seminal moment. And frankly, you don't have to look back too far to Matt Gaetz and his crew of 7 others that deposed a very popular speaker, a speaker that was living up to every promise that he made, and that was Kevin McCarthy. And there are a lot of angry people out there. And if that wouldn't have happened, I think you would have seen a unified Republican conference, but you clearly don't right now.
And putting aside whether it's unified or not, I mean, as someone who wishes that the moderates among the Democrats and the moderates among the Republicans would come together and create their own party, isn't this a pretty brave move by those moderates who are going to take a lot of heat?
Well, I mean, look, Dan, you and I have talked countless times, and I left Congress the 14th most bipartisan member as ranked by the Lugar Center. So I valued bipartisanship too. But the Democrats haven't been playing in a very bipartisan way. Yeah. Democrats, especially the Problem Solvers Caucus, Democrats, they talk about governing, but they went against governing when they allowed Kevin McCarthy to be deposed. They like this chaos,
Yep.
and they believe it's going to benefit them politically. I certainly hope they have a better chance in the future to show the American people that they care about bipartisanship like they say they do.
Yep, look, and I made this point about Democrats. This was a dangerous game that they were playing, where they very well could have ended up with a Jim Jordan when all of them voted against Kevin McCarthy. I am hoping that there is some sort of deal that can be reached with the moderates on the Republican side, the moderates on the Democratic side, and I realize that I may be living in a fantasy world. Rodney Davis, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.